The next challenge is Base64. Okay. So this is something we're going to run into all over the place when we're doing cryptography and other cybersecurity stuff. So let's read about this Base64 challenge. Another common encoding scheme is Base64, which allows us to represent binary data as an ASCII string using an alphabet of 64 characters. One character of the Base64 string encodes 6 binary digits, which are called bits, and so 4 characters of Base64 encode 3 8-bit bytes. Base64 is most commonly used online, so binary data such as images can be easily included into HTML or CSS files. Take the below hex string and decode it into bytes and then encode it into Base64. Okay. So we need to decode this into bytes and then we need to encode it into Base64. So I don't think we'll be able to directly encode this into Base64 and get the answer, but we can try. So I'm just going to copy this and then go over to some sort of some website, and I'm going to search for something like Base64 encode. Okay, so we've got this fun little website here called base64encode.org. So we're just going to visit it. We're going to paste in our Base64 string, the string that we want to Base64 encode. And then we're going to click on encode over here. Let's make this bigger. Click on encode. And this is not what we want. So this is not a flag. And I guess we're not going to be able to solve it this way, or at least I don't know how. Okay, so we're going to try solving this using Python. So to solve it with Python, let's go back. So in Python, after importing the Base64 module with import Base64, you can use the base64.b64 encode function. Remember to decode the hex first, as the challenge description states. Okay, so it said, take the string below, decode it into bytes, and then encode it into Base64. All right, so we've got this string here. We're going to copy it, and we're going to start creating our script. So we're going to make a script called Base64 underscore encode. .py. Okay, so we're going to import the Base64 module, and then we can start writing our code. So let me just check. Okay, so import Base64 first. Then you can use the base64.b64 encode function. So we can't use this yet. First, we need to take the string, the hex string, and decode it into bytes. So according to the last challenge, it was, all right, so we need to use the function that we used in the last script. So let me save this out, and let me remember what we used in the last script. The last script was hex to ASCII.py. So we used hex bytes we used bytes from hex. So let's remember that. So we're going to have to use this, let's see, bytes from hex on some sort of string. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to keep on editing our file, which is base64 encode.py. And we need to get the bytes first. So the bytes are going to be these bytes. But let's copy these bytes, then go back to our code. So in the code, we're just going to call these hex bytes. And then we're going to do bytes from string, the hex bytes. Hex bytes. Okay, and we're going to call this decoded bytes. And then after that, we've got our decoded bytes, and we're going to do base64 dot B64 encode. Ooh, what is the name of that function? Let me take a look. Okay, so we can get base64 dot B64 encode. Okay, that's the function we're doing. And we're encoding the decoded bytes. So we're going to call this encoded string. Encoded underscore string equals. Okay, and then we print, finally we print out the encoded string. All right, so I think this is going to get us what we want, but let's test it out and see if it works. If it doesn't, we're going to have to debug this script. All right, so let's run the file. It's going to be base64 encode.py. Okay, so bcrypto base64 encoding is web safe. Great. I think this is what we want, but the problem is that the flag format is incorrect. So we need the flag format to be, instead of slashes, we need curly braces. I think this is the flag, but I could be wrong. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to check what the flag is. But it certainly does look like a flag now, doesn't it? So what we would want is something that looks kind of like this. Something that looks like this. But I guess we're gonna have to leave it here because messing around with this some more is probably not going to make this any more legible. So let's move on to the next challenge.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.